Well, good afternoon and welcome to professional development for the presidential ambassadors. This is part one of four trainings that you are going to be attending for your new position as a presidential ambassador. My name is Megan Morrow. I'm the Senior Associate Director of Career Services and Experiential Learning and Employer Relations, and I will be your tour guide for this for these next 4 hours that we spend together over the course of the next couple weeks. So congratulations on getting your position as a presidential ambassador. You are going to be representing Florida Southern College in a very unique way that we want you to be able to feel confident and comfortable in your roles as you do represent us. And so that's what this training is kind of all about. Some of this stuff is going to be stuff that you already know. Some of it may be kind of new or maybe a refresher, but again, we just want you to feel comfortable and confident as you embark out on the world, embark out on Florida Southern, and the community as you represent us out there in the various opportunities and situations that you might find yourself in. So today we're going to just talking about presenting yourself professionally. I have a couple different presentations that we're going to go over. We're going to start about, just what does it mean to present yourself professionally? We're going to segue into first impressions, networking, and then we're going to go into professional emailing. Those are some of the top points that we're going to be talking about in today's session. So first thing we're going to do is I'm going to pull up how presenting yourself professionally, and I'm going to share my screen here. All right. So presenting yourself professionally. So there's a couple points that you want to be sure of. Some of this stuff, again, like I said, is going to be common sense, but some of it you really need to drive this point home because it is super important. And the very first thing right up top is be punctual. That is something that is just a non-negotiable, that you need to be on time, if not early, to everything, whether that's a job interview, whether that's, class. You don't want to be the one that's rolling in 10, 15 minutes late. You don't want to be the one that's come in right as things are getting started. Your professionalism is that you are there ready to rock and roll before the event gets started. So that is one of the absolute most important ways that you can convey yourself professionally is by arriving on time. And again, at least a little early. I do teach the professional development class in the School of Business. So some of you, if as a professional, or I'm sorry, as a presidential ambassador, you may have already had me in class or you may know me already, but we talk about this all the time. You have to be on time. When you come in late, that conveys this message of you don't matter, as in like that's what you're telling other people that they don't matter. You don't care, and that is probably the farthest thing from your mind. You could be like, I was late, there was traffic, and I have mornings like that too, where it's like, no matter what happens, it seems like that's the day that everything goes wrong. I can't get out of the house. I go out there. Oh my, get out to the car. Oh, I forgot my purse. I forgot my water. I forgot my coffee. And then as I'm pouring my coffee, it spills. And then as I bend over to pick it up and I've got my purse on my back, everything falls over and onto the floor. And then I whack my head on the counter as I stand. I mean, it's like those days are crazy. And you're like, I just want to go back to bed. So when you know that you have an important day, you have an important event or meeting that you have to get to, make sure that you get up with plenty of time. If you normally get up at 6 and you're rushing to get out the door by 7, get up at 5:30. You have to be on time. You have to be early so that you're there, that no one's waiting on you, because that just really conveys that message of, I just don't have my stuff together. I don't care, and you have to account for traffic because, oh, there was, unless there was like a horrific accident, of course, but just like, oh, there was just traffic. Well, we live in Lakeland. It's a very congested town now. We've really blown up over the past couple of years. It's going to take you a while to get from point A to point B. Leave yourself plenty of time. All right, next one is communication. When talking with an FSC staff or guest at the college, Do not address anyone casually. It is safest to avoid the use of first names unless given permission to do so. So Dr., Mr., Mrs., Miss, and always please and thank you. So when you first meet somebody, you as, kind of the younger person, you're going to introduce yourself. Hi, my name is Megan Morrow. And then you'll go from there. So the person that you're being introduced to or that you're introducing yourself to, they could say, for example, like the VP of Student Life is Dr. Lauren Albaum. And if she says, "Hi, I'm Dr. Albaum," then you need to refer to her as Dr. Albaum until she says, "Please call me Lauren." But if she doesn't, then it's Dr. Albaum all day long. Think about like when you were growing up as, like I know that when, for me, I'll use my example actually. My parents were always like, whenever you bring your friends over, they need to address this as Mr. and Mrs. Horsewide. And as soon as they do, they'll say, "Oh no, please call me Vicky or Steve." But if they come in like, "Oh, hey, Vicky," they're going to be like, "Excuse me, it's Mrs. Horsewide." It's a respect thing. And it's the same thing when you are communicating with people professionally, especially people who hold advanced degrees. They need to be referred to as doctor. Same with your professors on campus. You're not just going to walk up to, a professor the first day of class and be like, "Sup, homie?" No, you're going to be like, "Hi, Dr. Love. Hi, Professor Josie. Hi, Professor Neighbors." That is a respect thing until they say otherwise. So always make sure that you are addressing people professionally. Excuse me. I think I'm coming down. So. All right, attire. If you hope to be seen as a professional, wear the appropriate clothing as identified by the dress code and ensure it's wrinkle-free. I cannot stress that enough. You just take the time to iron your clothes. I hate ironing, so I invested in a steam, like one of those steam iron things. And so I have a lot of, business clothes that they get put in the delicate cycle in the wash machine, but they don't go in the dryer. And I hang them all up to line dry, and then I steam them before I even put them away in my closet. I make sure that I do that so that in the morning, when I'm running around trying to get ready for work, I don't have to pull out my blouse and be like, "Oh, it's wrinkled. Oh no, I can't wear it. I don't have time to iron it. It's already ironed. It's already put away." But if you're showing up, things are wrinkled, they're not tucked in, you're looking kind of crazy, that really does take away from your level of professionalism. So your attire needs to be spot on. Confidentiality. Be attuned to the possibility of hearing sensitive information at some point may be confidential. Be sure you understand and maintain confidentiality, and please reach out to Stacy if you have any questions. So if you are upstairs, I'm in the Student Life building right now. So if you're upstairs where the senior leadership of Student Life is, and those walls are kind of thin. You might be in, one office and you could maybe potentially hear someone talking about a student in another office. Just because you overhear it doesn't make it public knowledge. So you are tasked with, you have to keep that information confidential and private, as if it was told to you in confidence. If you are transporting documents or materials, again, you have to treat that as it is confidential information. You have to be trustworthy enough to not go through the files, to not repeat the things that you see and hear. All right, demonstrate commitment and focus. If you assume responsibility for a task, follow through with completing it. If you get stuck and have exhausted all of your options, always ask for help. Never, never, never be afraid to ask for help. You will actually be seen as more of a professional and more mature and get more respect from people around you when you admit, "Hey, I don't know what to do. I need some help. I need some guidance." People are willing to help. We work on a beautiful, wonderful, tremendous campus full of people who would love to help. So don't be afraid to ask for help from anybody that you need to. Please don't just try to wing it. If you can try to figure it out, which again demonstrates problem solving and adaptability and critical thinking, great. Figure it out to the best of your ability. But if you can't, then please ask for help. Be present in every way. Turn your cell phone off or put it on silent mode. Do not check social media or surf the internet while you're on duty. Be alert and attentive and convey enthusiasm, even when you're feeling tired. That is, oh my gosh, a smile will change everything. Change the idea of I'm nervous and anxious to I'm excited. It actually does change the way your brain is processing the information. But even if you're bored and like, oh, I don't want to be here, that's okay. Not everybody wants to be everywhere at all times, but you're there. So you're going to have to just switch your gears and say, I'm excited to be here. And your brain will be like, oh, we're excited. Okay. And it'll start getting excited. Little things that you can do to kind of trick your brain, but you need to be present. And I'll tell you a quick personal story. And I did this. And a lot of times when I tell my stories or I give advice or I'm telling, do's and don'ts, it's based off of personal experience. It's also based off of research and the experts and everything like that. But some of it's based off of personal experience. Don't check your personal stuff when you're at work because you could get upsetting news. I did that. One time I checked my personal email. I was at work. There was nothing I could do about it. I got some very upsetting news and I had to keep going on about my day, knowing this information now in the back of my brain that I could do nothing about for hours. And let me tell you, not only was I distracted, so therefore I didn't do a great job as an employee the rest of that day, which was a disservice to the company and to the students that I was serving. But also, I was absolutely miserable because now I was so focused on this other piece of information and not what I should have been focusing on. And therefore the time was just dragging by. I was like ready to claw my face off because I just wanted to get out of there and go address what was in that email. And I couldn't do it for hours and hours and hours. Now, had I just waited till I got home and checked it, then I would have got the information. I could have dealt with it right away and I would have saved myself hours, and I'm talking hours of kind of agony of what I had to deal with. You sneeze. Excuse me, I thought I was stopping the recording. I wasn't. I was stopping the screen sharing. Silly me. All right. Anyway, I'm not gonna restart the recording, so bless me. All right. Be respectful to those around you. Do not chew gum loudly, speak too loudly or verbosely, or wear heavy cologne or perfume to which others might be sensitive. Respect personal boundaries, but be friendly and make a polite effort to connect with the people around you. So again, in my professional development class, I talk about, the interview process and how you should not wear perfume or cologne. People have allergies that you might not know about. You could be a little heavy-handed. It could be a small enclosed space. So now, now people are kind of like almost being choked out because your perfume or cologne is just so overbearing and they can't get any fresh air. So please just be really cognizant of that. I mean, I would err on the side of caution, just not wear anything, just be clean and you'll be fine. But if you are going to wear something, just be really light-handed, be really cautious about spraying too much or wearing something that's too heavy or too heavy, that has a super strong scent. Chewing gum. I mean, I love to chew gum because I love having fresh breath too, but you have to be very careful about chewing gum because if you're not like conscious about it, then you start smacking it or it's popping or, and that is so unbelievably unprofessional to be popping your gum or smacking your lips, if you're in a meeting or even if you're just like, if you're doing crowd control or you're networking, maybe you're at the CEO 100 event or you're working graduation or, you're at, some other type of event where you're representing Florida Southern, especially if you got that red blazer on. Notice I'm sporting my red blazer. Um, you don't want to be chewing gum or sucking on mints or anything like that. Be conscientious of what's around you. If there's a meeting going on, there's people talking, you don't want to be over here having your own side conversations. It's very distracting. It's very unprofessional. It's very rude. And also too, you don't want to get too close to people. So like in the United States, we normally say like, for American culture, we have like a foot of personal space for those that we are really close with. Maybe that's your significant other, somebody that you're really, really intimate with. 3 feet of space for, say, friends and people that we know that we're comfortable with, but not people that we're necessarily like that we want too close. But then like 6 feet of space for people that we don't know, like for strangers. We like our personal space. In other cultures, it's different. I know I've traveled overseas quite a bit, and I have to adapt when I'm in somebody else's culture. For example, when I was in Germany, they have like 1 foot of personal space, even for strangers, and it was very uncomfortable for me. But I had to be like, I'm in their culture, I'm in their country. I have to adapt, right? But we're here in the United States, so that just understand that 6 feet for people we don't know, 3 feet for friends and acquaintances, and like 1 foot for your significant other. I probably wouldn't get more than 1 foot unless it's your husband, wife, boyfriend, girlfriend, whatever, because you might get, I don't know, you might catch a wayward hand like, get out of my face. So just be conscientious of those around you. All right, be trustworthy and direct in both speech and action and accept accountability for yourself. It's okay to make mistakes. It's not okay to deny those mistakes or fabricate excuses. That's huge. Guys, we all are human. We all make mistakes. You have to accept the fact that you are going to make mistakes and just accept the consequences. And if you try to hide it, like for example, I have children. They're older now, but when they were little, I'm like, listen, like if you spill grape juice on my white carpet, come tell me immediately. And so that we could try to clean it up before the stain sets in. Don't hide it and lie about it so the stain sets in and now it's a bigger deal. And then I come and find out and I'll be like, okay, well, who spilled the grape juice? And let's say now you're going to lie about it. Oh, it wasn't me, it was somebody else. The truth always comes out. I find out it was one kid and not the other kid. And guess what? The kid that spilled it and lied about it is in way more trouble than if he had just come to me and been like, "Hey, mom, it was an accident. I'm so sorry." Like, okay, let's work together. Let's clean it up. It's the same in your professional life. Hey, I inputted the wrong data. I lost the letter I was supposed to mail. I dropped the ball. I forgot about this. Just let somebody know as soon as you realize that you've made the mistake so that you can try to fix it as quickly as possible. And hopefully, the consequences will be less, but you will get so much more respect from people around you if you own your mistakes. And if you're not making mistakes, you're just not living. That's just life. You're supposed to be making mistakes, you're learning. All right, lastly, have fun and be confident in your own potential abilities. When you're enjoying something and trying your hardest, it shows. So have fun. This is a great thing. This is also great for your resume. This is a great networking opportunity for you. This is awesome. Things that you're just gonna be able to get out on campus. This is extracurricular stuff. This is stuff employers want to see. Trust me. You're going to be able to rub elbows with some of the senior leaders across campus. You're going to get access to some heavy hitters in the community. It just really opens a lot of doors for you as you want to progress your career. Because, I mean, let's face it, why are you going to college if not to get a good career, right? So you want to set yourself up for success for all of the endeavors that you are putting in place for yourself. And this particular opportunity is wonderful. I was an ambassador when I was in college as well. I had so much fun. I made good friends. I made good memories, but I also had some great networking opportunities that opened up for me. And it was a game changer. So I hope you see it that same way. If you have any questions, please let us know. I know Stacy Bryant has been your point of contact for, the beginning part of your journey. You can always ask her questions as well. Okay, so that is the presenting yourself professionally. So we're going to go ahead and jump right into, I have something I want to show you real fast. I forgot to pull it up first, so give me a quick second. So we're going to talk about networking and first impressions, okay? So here it is. Networking and first impressions. The number one thing that you can control when you are out in the world is your face, okay? So if you don't know who this is Scarlett O'Hara from Gone with the Wind. She is hilarious. I love her to death. She is a fictional character, obviously, but controlling my tongue is no problem. It's my face that needs deliverance. See that? I mean, that face, that's like the look that could kill, right? This is something we are all insanely guilty of. You have got to fix your face. All right. You don't even mean to. I know you don't. But because I do it too, and I am one of the nicest people I know. I'm a very happy person. I'm very energetic. I love life. I'm always like, I'm always in a good mood. It's really rare that I'm ever like in a bad mood, right? But sometimes I've got the face that says, if you cross me, I will shoot daggers out of my eyes and you will rue the day you cross my path. And that is not at all what's going on inside my head. But that's the look I'm giving. And so, true story. I was going for a job interview probably about 15 plus years ago or so. I was young, I was nervous, but I was like, I'm going to get this job. It was a bizarre situation because it was like a big group interview, which there was like several of us and one interviewer. So it was like an all day thing. And I was the first one there. I was dressed in my suit. I had my portfolio. I mean, I was ready to go. I sat right in the front and I was laser focused. But the problem was is that I had the face. I had the face. And so the meeting started and about an hour and a half into it, we get our first break. Of course, I'd relaxed a little bit at this point, and I'm kind of, chilling out. My body had relaxed. I was leaning back a little bit. I wasn't so rigid. I had relaxed my face. And they gave us a quick break. And so I'm kind of cutting up with the people around me, and the presenter slash interviewer was like, wow, she's like, you're pretty funny. And I was like, oh no. And she's like, oh no. She's like, I thought you were words I can't say in a Methodist college. And I was like, oh my God, me? Like, what do you mean? She's like, you had the most awful expression on your face. You looked so unapproachable. You looked so harsh. She's like, you were very intimidating when I first walked in. And it literally floored me. And honestly, I should have just left. I should have left the interview right then and there because I went through the rest of the hours. It was an 8 hour interview. I went through the rest of the day. And at the end of the day, she's like, I can't get past that first impression. That's how important first impressions are. And that's going to be the first thing I'm going to tell you in this presentation here is that you never get a first chance, or I'm sorry, you never get a second chance to make a first impression. So let's move on to the next. So sadly, I did not get that job. And I felt like I was overqualified. I had everything that they wanted and needed. And yet, because of that initial first impression, I lost it. That's sad. And it was all because of my face. And even over the years, like people, like I've been like literally like stopped on the street, like, hey, oh my God, girl, smile. And I'm just like, whoa, what? Like, cause I'm just focused, right? I'm just thinking about where I'm getting from one place to the next, or, I'm running over something in my mind, or, maybe I do have a presentation that I'm doing later that day, or maybe I'm going over a presentation that I did earlier that day, or I know I've got stuff coming up. Maybe I'm even thinking about what I need at the grocery store. But you've got to watch your face because it's your body, it's your facial expressions. So they say there's like when you communicate your nonverbals, which is your facial expression, your body language, the way you hold yourself is like 55% of your message. And then it's your tone. Like, how do you say it? How does it come across? What is the intonation of your voice? Are you saying it with sarcasm? Are you being genuine? And only 7% of your message is the actual words that are coming out of your mouth. It's true. It's true. So if I'm like, have a nice day versus have a nice day, I said the exact same words, but it's completely different message. That's exactly what we're conveying with our body language and with our facial expressions. So, first impressions, networking, and personal branding. Like I just said, you will never get a second chance to make a first impression. So, ask yourself this: what goes through your mind when you were trying to make a first impression in a professional environment? When you think about that, that'll help you as you go into professional environments. Like what message am I trying to convey? Once you understand what you were actually trying to say, then it'll help you what you're trying to put out there. So if you're trying to say, that I'm approachable, I'm helpful, I'm happy to be here, I'm enthusiastic to be here, I want to be here, I want to make connections, I want to meet people, it's going to open you up. I mean, not just, in your mind, in your head space, but your body, and you're going to open up and it's going to, allow the connections to come to you, and you're going to be more susceptible and open to what's around you to say, hey, I'm open to you, right? So you have to say, you have to get yourself right in the right mind frame to begin with. So let's talk about how you're going to dress for professional events. Dressing up versus dressing professional. So, we're dressing up, we're going out with our friends, we're going out on a date, we're going to maybe homecoming or a wedding, or we're just going, there's so many different ways that we dress depending on where we are going. So you have to be conscientious of the environment that you are going into. So none of these would be appropriate for a professional environment. This is what we're going to look like when we want to dress professionally. So let's talk about the difference between business professional and business casual. So both are going to be good for the office depending on what type of office you might be entering in. But if you're talking business professional, so if you ever hear someone say it's business professional attire, for guys, you guys are a little bit easier than girls. Guys, you're going to have a button-down shirt, a tie. You must have a jacket. You'll have slacks, a belt, some nice socks, and loafers. We're not going to have any sneakers or slides or Crocs or anything like that. No khakis, no jeans, no shorts, no polos, no t-shirts, none of that. Business professional is a suit, is a button-down shirt with a tie, with a blazer, with matching pants. Do I need to say that? Matching pants. Don't be out there all crazy with a brown jacket and blue pants or something crazy. A belt, nice socks, and nice loafers, nice shoes. Ladies, we do have a little bit more flexibility. You can wear a dress, or you can wear a blouse with a skirt, or blouse with slacks. But again, we want to wear a blazer. So what I'm wearing right now, I'm gonna stand up for you guys. I've got a two-piece blazer or two-piece suit on. I don't know if you can see me, but I got matching red pants with my matching blazer and my black blouse underneath. It's tucked in. I've got my heels on, and I've got my hair pulled back. I can have my hair down too. That doesn't matter as long as it looks good. All right, business casual. Going back to business professional with women, we can wear dresses, skirts, or pants. Does not matter. So you do not have to wear a skirt or a dress if you're not comfortable in that. Does not matter. You can wear pants, just not shorts or, again, same with the guys, no khakis, no shorts, no jeans, anything like that. We want to wear closed-toed shoes. Now, we do live in Florida, so we are kind of afforded a little bit of leeway. Like, we don't have to wear pantyhose like some of my northern counterparts have to wear pantyhose. We don't have to wear pantyhose. But unless they're dressy, nice, business shoes that are open-toed, I would just say closed-toed. I would say closed-toed all day long. It's just much more professional. If it has just a tiny little opening in the toe, maybe not so bad. But again, I would err on the side of caution and just go with closed-toed. All right. And it doesn't have to be heels. They can be flats. If you're not a heels girl, not a problem. If you're not comfortable in heels, don't wear heels to an event that you have to do a lot of walking around in. Because first of all, you're not gonna be able to walk in them. You're gonna look awkward and your feet are gonna hurt like crazy. Trust me, I know this. All right, so let's go to business casual. So business casual is still, again, we're not talking blue jeans. We're not talking shorts or anything like that. What we want is, so for guys, a polo, a collared shirt of some sort, maybe like a short sleeve button down would be fine, or some type of really nice like knit top, but no t-shirts, no long sleeve t-shirts, no hoodies, no tank tops, nothing like that. You do not need a jacket or a blazer. Sometimes a work polo for if you've ever seen us around campus, we do have the red career service or red student life polos that we wear, like if we're at orientation or convocation or something like that, if we're wearing those. That's usually what we'll wear when we're doing something that's business casual, if it's not a business professional event. So you could have khakis, maybe some cotton slacks, a nice skirt of some sort. Now you might be able to get away with open-toed shoes for the ladies, but not flip-flops or Crocs or slides. You don't look like you're going to the beach or anything. Guys, you're never going to wear open-toed shoes in whether it's business professional or business casual. I can't imagine anybody saying that would be a good idea. I'm telling you it's not. All right, so let's talk about this. You show up, what is your first impression of the scenario? Okay, so you show up for an interview and the person at the front desk asks how you were doing. You respond with good. And then you begin flipping through your interview notes as you wait for the interview to start. Sounds polite, right? But the person asks you how you're doing. So politely, yes, good. I mean, a lot of people say, how are you doing? It's just another way of just saying hi. I mean, unless it's someone you know very well, the proper response is usually good or fine, great, thanks. But you should always say, good, thank you. And how are you? I'm good, thank you. Now remember, the reception, him or her, if they're working, and so they don't necessarily want to chit chat with you, but if they're trying to engage you in some kind of small talk, engage back. It's polite, it's good manners. And again, if you're in my professional development class, I say this all the time, the interview starts the moment you set foot on property. So everybody you meet is actually part of your interview. So if you're rude to that front desk person, you've shot yourself in the foot. So they want to engage you, engage back. But if they say, please have a seat, and then you want to keep yapping and because you're trying to be polite, no. They're working. Respect the fact that they're working, but make sure that you are engaging to the level that they're engaging with you. All right, you sign up for a one-on-one virtual session with an employer you're interested in at the virtual expo. The employer asks if you have any questions. Your only question is, do you have any current openings? All right, pro tip, don't do that. Don't do that. Yes, you should express your interest in the company, but if you're just like, hey, the only question I have is if you have any openings, it's saying to them that you just want a job. You don't really care much about the company, you don't really care much about the person, you're just trying to get a job as quick as possible. You can convey your interest, but you should always have some good questions. And that's a whole nother presentation about what questions you should ask and not ask and everything. But you should always have good questions. So do your research, know what the company is that you are potentially interviewing with. If you know the person that's doing the interviewing, do some research on them. The more you want the job, the more effort you're going to put into that, to these questions. All right, let's talk about networking. All right, the do's and don'ts of networking. If you've never been to a networking event, it is really not as scary as it sounds. It's usually just a little intimidating when you first get there, but once you kind of like rip off that proverbial Band-Aid and you just get yourself out there, it's a unique opportunity for you just to talk to people. It's not quite a social gathering, but it's not an interview or an expo. It's people are just there. They want to know about you, but they want to know about you on a professional level. All right, don'ts of networking. Don't be afraid to introduce yourself. People are not going to come up to you. You have to go up to them. Don't try to be best friends first. Again, this is a professional networking. Don't be long-winded. Yes, you want to have a professional statement, which we're going to talk about here soon. You want to be able to introduce yourself professionally, but talk enough that it conveys who you are and what you're interested in and maybe some of your strengths and then your passions, but not to the point where the person's like, oh, dear Lord, I'm so sorry I asked, right? Don't just talk about yourself. And that goes to the little star to the right. You want to be interested, not interesting. So people love to talk about themselves, you and I included. But when you are trying to get the information about a company, you are trying to present yourself professionally, you need to be interested. You need to be a good listener. You need to be an active listener, not just waiting for your turn to talk. You need to actually be paying attention to what the person is saying, taking mental notes, Be interested. Oh, that's interesting. Tell me more about that. Try to make connections. Don't be aggressive or pushy. Don't be afraid to do research. You know who's going to be there. Most of the time, especially the events that we put on for through career services, when we do like our mocktails, if you've ever had a chance to attend one of those, you know ahead of time who's going to be there. At least the majority of them. Sometimes we do have last minute employers that pop up, but most of the time, you know who's going to be there. Don't not follow up. People miss so many amazing and valuable opportunities when they don't follow up. So the fortune is in the follow-up. Oh, look at that. I already was going to say that. The fortune is in the follow-up. So the do's of networking, be prepared. Please be prepared. Do your research. If you know there's going to be 20 companies there, pick about 3 or 4 or 5 that you know you want to talk to and do your research on them so that you have some good questions, you have some good background knowledge, because you're going to impress them when you're like, oh yeah, I just read that you guys just opened up a new office in Winter Haven. Or yeah, I heard that you guys, just reached Fortune 500 status. Or or that maybe, that they're downsizing, or, that maybe they have been in the news for something. They've won some great awards or something like that. You don't want to talk about the bad things, but you want to talk about, the good things that they're doing and how you see yourself in that role, or see yourself enmeshed in their particular workplace culture, see yourself within that company, always painting the picture so they see you in that role too. Make sure you listen. Active listening is super important. Don't just ask questions for the sake of asking questions and just to be nodding your head and being like, okay, yeah, whatever, just on to the next one. That comes across. Again, it's in your face, it's in your body language. You have to be making good eye contact and smiling and leaning in to show interest. But actively listening, be authentic, be you. Be the best version of you. Try to find some common ground. If maybe they're both from Pittsburgh. I'm from Pittsburgh, like, oh wow, I grew up there too. And maybe you have a love of Steelers like I do. Go Steelers. Can't wait for football season. Communicate your unique value and always, always, always follow up. Let's talk about the power of attraction. When you lead with a servant's mentality, you are saying, how can I help you? How can I solve a problem that you're having? How can I be the person that you want to be around? Increase your likability by being someone that is of a servant mind, by being someone who solves problems. If I have an open position in my company, I have a problem. I need you to come across as the person who's there to solve that problem, making yourself the obvious choice. And this is how you network. When you find out, like, why are you here? What's your business all about? Tell me how you got into this business. What do you like about it? Where do you see people struggle when they first embark upon this particular industry? Model the behavior that you want, because you want someone to treat you with that kind of, curiosity and authentic, inquiry, and that they really truly care about what you have to say versus that they're just kind of checking off a box. You know that. You've been there where people are just politely tolerating you till the next person comes along. Don't do that. Model the behavior you want. All right, so the art of networking is your preparation. That's going to go with your research, and you have maybe even practiced saying your personal brand statement. You, excuse me, have looked up the companies. And if you know who the reps are, they're going to be there. Even great, even better. All right, your delivery. Your delivery is going to be strong and confident. You've got a nice, relaxed face. You are happy to be there. You're not scrunched up or, nervous, or you have your I could kill you with my eyes face on. You're not having your arms crossed. You're not closing in on yourself, making yourself smaller, or kind of like, protecting yourself, but you also don't want to come in being like, I own this place. Everything the light touches is mine. No, you got to be somewhere in between. You got to be confident. Your head is back. Your shoulders are back. Your head is up. You're smiling. You're making eye contact, and firm, strong handshake. If you've ever heard the term cold fishing, that's where people kind of give you your hand like this, and it's just like you go to shake and it's like, what is what is happen? What is happening? It's it's weird. It's just like, oh, I want to go wash my hands now. A firm, strong handshake. You're making good eye contact. You're connecting. You're smiling. You're introducing yourself. They're introducing themselves. It's a couple quick shakes and you release. You're not trying to break bones. You're not trying to make them weirded out with your weird, limpy, you know, unanimated hand. Never, ever, ever shake hands sitting down either. Stand up, smile, shake hands, introduce yourself, eye contact, and then follow through. So many missed opportunities when people don't follow through. How can you grow your network? They're everywhere. They're everywhere. You've got academic advisors, you've got professors, you've got coaches and mentors and community living advisors and RAs and staff and you've got friends and classmates. And then whenever you have guest speakers or whenever you meet someone at a networking event, say you meet I don't John Smith from ABC Bank at the CEO 100 event. You met him, you shook hands with him, you had a delightful conversation, maybe even asked for his business card. The next day or later that day, if you will, you're going to find him on LinkedIn or you're going to send him an email and you're going to be like, hi, Mr. Smith, this is Megan Morrow. I met you at the Florida Southern CEO 100 event, yesterday or today or whatever. I'm sending that email, right? I just wanted to say it was so great to meet you and connect with you and learn more about ABC Bank. And I think what you're doing, and maybe say a couple things you guys talked about. Maybe I found out that they're trying to help, women and children in domestic violence situations, or maybe that they're doing some type of charity for human trafficking. So you might say like, I love learning more about ABC Bank, and I admire the cause of helping women and children, or admiring the cause of helping people in human trafficking, whatever it is. Then he's like, wow, she was paying attention. Because when you talk back to somebody about what they told you, that shows a couple things. It shows that you were attentive. It shows that you're interested, but above all, it also shows that you're smart. It really increases the view of intelligence in their mind because they're like, dang, because they're not, first of all, they're not expecting people to follow up because most people don't. And then when you do follow up, they're like, all right, okay, I see you. And then you follow up with this a phenomenal email or LinkedIn request that says something like, hey, I remember you, John, and you made an impact on me because you said these things, and I was impressed. And they're like, whoa, all and now you've just increased your likability. We call these touch points. So you met John at the CEO 100 event. Now you've emailed him. That's a second touch. Maybe now you're going to find him on LinkedIn and connect. You always want to connect with a note when you're connecting with someone that you don't know. And again, hi, John, this is Megan Morrow. We met at the CEO 100 event at Florida Southern last week, and oh, I remember you. Now it's a third connection. So that's a third touch of John and I at ABC Bank. And now I'm going to follow him on LinkedIn and he's going to make a post and I'm going to like it or I'm going to comment and I'm going to keep staying on his mind. These are the ways that you're going to be able to network. 85% of jobs are found through networking, are secured through networking. The economy is tough right now. These are all the little tips and tricks you can do that's going to set you up for success so that you're not out there just basically cold calling and knocking on doors for people, hey, give me a job, give me a job, give me a job. You're going to do all this networking. This is where this presidential ambassador role is really elevating you to a status where you're going to have these opportunities to meet these people kind of out in the wild where you don't have to go find them. They're being brought to you. So build your network, stay on top of it. Don't just, meet them and then like a one and done and throw them, yeah, I got your business card and then they go in a big stack out of nowhere and then you throw them away eventually a couple of years down the line. Use your connections that you are making during these events. Use your professors. As a business professor, I'm a great letter of recommendation. My letter of recommendation holds a lot of weight. And so, when I have students that I know, now I have to know you You have to make the effort to get to know me because I have a lot of students, just like, you have a lot going on too. Now, I might not be your cup of tea, which is fine, but you have to connect with some of your other professors on this campus because we all are great resources for you, whether it's staff, whether it's faculty, coaches, it doesn't matter. When it comes from a professional relationship for a letter of recommendation or like even to say, hey, I'm looking for a job. And I've done this. I've been able to do this for my students. They'll come to me and they'll say, hey, I'm getting ready to graduate and this is what my degree is and this is what I'm kind of interested in. And then I can be like, hey, okay, I've got a couple employers that I'd be happy to introduce you to, or at least do a soft introduction where I'll say, hey, all right, Bob, that's who I'm working with is Bob. All right, I want you to reach out to this person, this person, this person at these companies. I want you to find them on LinkedIn and I want you to connect with them and I want you to tell them, hi, my name is Bob and I've been working with Professor Morrow at Florida Southern College and I would like to connect with you and learn more about your company or something along those lines, right? But before Bob even does that, I'm going to reach out to those contacts that I have and I'm going to say, hey, Greg over at Auto Owners. Hey, Greg, I'm working with Bob and he should be connecting with you soon to learn more about auto owners. I just wanted to give you a heads up. And now Greg is like, okay, I see you. And so when that connection comes across, he's like, oh, Bob is working with Professor Morrow. I'm gonna catch them. So that's how networking works. Versus, if Bob just reaches out to Greg, Greg might be like, I don't know you. He may decline the connection. He may not know, or he may connect and I'm busy. I'll get back to you later. But since I have a relationship with that employer and I have a relationship with Bob, and now Bob is leveraging our relationship to help him build his network, that's how it works. Easy peasy, right? Cool. All right, so keep your connections. Campus, join some type of club, organization, some type of Greek life if you want to. It's super important that you get involved on campus. Right now, you're involved in the presidential ambassadors, which is phenomenal. It's what you should be doing. Again, faculty, staff, coaches, advisors, counselors. Community partners, anytime you go do anything, volunteer, make sure you're getting out there and doing stuff in the community. Do some type of leadership stuff. Whenever you connect with employers, whether it's at a career fair, whether it's mocktails that career services hosts or mock interviews that we host, or any guest speaker that comes into class that you really connected well with. And you're like, wow. And then maybe you stay after class and you talk to them and you're like, I really enjoyed your talk. I'm like, hey, very cool. And you guys chit chat, connect, 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 connect. You never know who knows someone. And it only takes one person to like you to propel you. True story. A young lady was struggling with getting a job, especially because she was an international student, which kind of forms another barrier with all the visa and the paperwork and stuff. So she was having a hard time, working with employers, trying to get people to give her a chance to work because of her international status. So she made a post on her LinkedIn about being open to what she was looking for and her degree and what her strengths were and what she was looking for. She made it shareable. It came across one of her professors that she worked with here at Florida Southern. That professor shared it on their page. And then somebody of their connections saw it, reached out to the young lady. Boom, job, mic drop. That's how it works. Okay. Peers, reach out to alumni. We're a small college. We've got a strong alumni base, people who want to come back and give back to the college and help. Friends, RAs, roommates, classmates. Now that professional brand statement that I talked about, the way that you want to create your professional brand is your unique value that you bring. This is short, concise, it's easy to memorize. It is like a mini elevator pitch. So here are some examples. So in class, this is how I do it. I have them list your attributes and list your unique attributes. Use those attributes to create your one sentence statement. Be sure your statement will resonate with your target audience and then obviously update as your audience changes. So here are some examples. I'm a junior in college who's passionate about improving the financial lives of others around me. Easy peasy. I'm a creative soul with a mission to impact the world of apparel post-college. Somebody obviously involved in fashion. I'm a driven athlete. I'm passionate about pushing myself to achieve excellence in athletics, school, and life. Easy. What are you doing? Ask yourself, what is your major? Why did you pick it? What are you hoping to get out of it? When did you know you loved it? What is your goal? If you were to close your eyes and if I said, what is your dream job? If right now you could propel yourself forward in the future and you have your dream job, the mothership has called you home. You are high on your ivory tower with all the love and gusto and passion you have for your job. And every day you get excited to jump up and go to work. What does that look like for you? You know, is it finance? Is it athletics? Is it teaching? Is it horticulture? Is it the performing arts? Is it teaching history? I love history. I'm such a history nerd. Is it studying the brain? You know, who knows? You know, is it nursing? You know, you want to help people. Are you going to be a doctor? Are you going to be a dentist? You're going to be a vet? Like, whatever that is, that's where your passion comes from. That's where you know you'll have a strong personal brand statement. Where are you in your studies? You're a freshman, you're a senior, you're studying finance, you're studying horticulture, you're studying, theater. Why? And what do you want to do with that? That's how you can do a strong statement. And when you ask yourself, because people ask you, you know, especially when you're out of college and you're working, the number one thing that people ask, you know, when they meet you like out on the street and stuff like that, they'll be like, "So what do you do?" You know, and it's easy to be like, "Oh, well, I'm a professor. I'm a business professor. Oh, I'm a teacher. I'm a nurse. I'm a doctor." Okay, that's your profession. What do you do? So ask yourself, why do you do that? And that's where you can also draw upon a good professional brand statement. You know, if somebody meets me and they're like, "Hey, like, what do you do?" And I'm like, "Well, I help young people bridge the gap between being a student and being a professional out in the world." Like, well, how do you do that? You know, what is that? Like, oh, well, I teach, I'm a professor at Florida Southern College and I teach professional development and I'm pivotal in their professional journey as far as developing them professionally so that they are confident in their ability to embark upon their next chapter in life. Most of my students have been students since they were about 4 or 5 years old. You know, now we do have some adult students that are returning, you know, but the traditional college student is, been in college until they graduate. They've been students until they graduate college. And now it's like, okay, now where does my identity lie? So what are you passionate about? What do you love? Why are you doing what you're doing? That will help you build your strong personal brand statement. All right, so introduction and handshake. Again, strong, firm handshake, smile, eye contact. You don't want to be looking all around. You don't want to, if you have issues with eye contact, you need to practice. Because if you cannot make eye contact with somebody, it's going to come across as very shifty and shady, and they're going to be like, there's something off about this person. Have a good personal brand statement. Have prepared topics and open-ended questions. You want to be able to say stuff like, tell me about what you like about working there. How did you get into this industry? Tell me your story. People love to talk about themselves. That goes into listening versus talking. Now, ending the conversation. That is always can be something that's a little tricky, especially like if you're just like, okay, I don't know what to say or do now. I've exhausted all my talking points. I've asked all my questions. We're both just kind of standing here awkwardly. So if you're at a networking event, you don't need to be spending all of your time at one, company, one table, one person, just like they don't need to be spending all their time with just one student. So don't overstay your welcome, but also don't just be bopping, as fast as you can to every table just because you're just trying to hit everybody as fast as possible. So ways, make sure that you've asked a couple good questions. You feel like you've got a good grip on the company and on the person, what they're all about, what their mission and vision is. And then, you can easily just be like, "Hey, thank you so much for taking the time to talk with me. I'm really glad I stopped by. I learned a lot. I'm really looking forward to continuing our conversation. I'm glad I have your contact information and I will be definitely connecting soon." They're like, "Okay, great." Firm, strong handshake. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Shake your hand. See you later. And you need to move on. sometimes that ending the conversation piece can be the most like uncomfortable. You're like, I don't know how to get out of this. But, especially if you see them kind of like shifting or they're kind of starting to look around you, like, it's time to wrap it up. All right. Obviously, no one's here. This is a pre-recording. I'm just talking to myself. So if you have any questions, please, please, please feel free to. You can always stop by my office. I'm on the third floor of Becker. And I'm or I'm at headquarters, either one over the summer. Your best bet is to email me if you want to set up a time to meet with me because I am in different places over across campus throughout the summer. My email is super easy. It's mmorrow, so MMORROW at flsouthern.edu. Okay, the last one that we're going to talk about today is emailing 101. All right, so this is super important. We're going to go through this a little quickly. All right, so oops, it might help if I share my screen. Okay, emailing 101. This is the reason why this is so important, guys. If your communication is coming through via email, you want to make sure that you are presenting yourself professionally. All right. So emails open doors and expand your network. So the goal of your email is to be seen, open, read, and then any action needs to be taken. So you want to get a response. Your email will be noticed and get the attention it deserves when it is written appropriately and professionally geared specifically to your audience. Elements of a professional email. You are not emailing your friends or family. This is a professional email. You must have a subject line in the subject line bar. And whatever platform you're using will hopefully prompt you. If you leave it out, say, hey, are you sure you want to send this? Your subject line is blank. You must have a greeting, a body, a closing, a sign off, and your signature. All right, so the subject line is its own field. Never leave it blank. If you leave it blank, most likely it's going to just be left unopened. It might even get sent over to spam. We have especially Florida Southern, we have a very strong phishing system. So, and not FISH, but PHISH. So a lot of things, even from people I've communicated with before, will go into my spam folder. So be very careful. You need to have something good. It needs to say something like, like what you're addressing. You want to stay away from like hello or please read because sometimes that seems kind of like, it seems a little fishy. You want to say stuff like, can we set up a meeting? Maybe requested resume for Matthew Lee, question from a fellow FSC alum, feedback on report draft needed by end of day Monday, question about apartment listing 123 Maple Street. Why are you writing this email? Why do I need to open it? Let me know. If you're applying for a job via email, sometimes a job posting might tell you to include something like your name or the position title or number in the subject line. You need to always follow these directions. If you can't follow the directions in the job posting, there's going to be like, why would I even give you the time of day? If you can't follow the directions in the job posting, then you're not going to follow directions when you're working for me. So you're just going to get, that email's going to get deleted. You can skip the subject line if you're responding to an email or forwarding someone else's message. All right, we can kind of skip through some of that. All right, let's talk about the greeting. All right, hi, hello, dear, or good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Totally fine. You never want to start without some type of salutation. It just be like that's the equivalent of just like walking up to somebody that you don't know and you just be like, so that report that you were looking for, I have it on my desk. And they're like, excuse me, what? Who are you? What's going on? So kind of think about it like that. You need to have some type of greeting. First name is usually fine unless the person works for a more formal company, and then you might want to use their full name. You use their full name over misgendering someone. So even in class, I talk about this a lot too. I would say if you're writing to someone, you don't know who you're writing to, like if you're applying for a job and maybe you're writing an email or your cover letter, I always say just dear hiring manager is the best way to go. If you say Miss, Mr., Mrs., something like that, you never know if somebody has different pronouns or if somebody's been divorced or if they're married or not married. So you just kind of never know. Some people tend to get offended, which is just crazy to me. I'm a Gen Xer, so you can't offend me. It's like it's in my DNA. But some people do tend to get offended. So a lot of times I'll just use their full name or I'll just skip and just say good afternoon. good morning or something like that. If you don't know who your email is, like I said, just skip with and just say hello or good afternoon. The body of your email, keep the language appropriate for the situation. Again, you're not friends. You're not just going to be like, sup, homie. I just wanted to chat with you real fast or anything like that. You want to be really professional about why you're emailing. Clearly state why you're sending this message and is there any action that needs to be taken? When you close off, usually a single sign line before your name and or email. Don't skip this. It may come across as rude. Most of the time, just thank you, best, sincerely, regards, anything like that is fine. You should have a signature. Create your own professional signature that's just going to be automatically attached to every email. I have mine set up so that when I start a new email, it is automatically there. When I reply to an email, it's automatically there. So I don't have to worry about any of that. It's automatically there. It's usually my first and last name, my contact information, title, company. Sometimes people will put their pronouns in, especially if they're using different pronouns. Links to information, maybe about you, your company. I might have my LinkedIn profile. In my professional signature, as you can see right here, I've got my name, my title, my company, the department I work out of. I have my phone number, I have my email, I have my office location, and then that is a link to schedule an appointment on Handshake so that, it takes you directly to Handshake to make an appointment with me, or if you want to report your internship or your experiences, you can do that. Also kind of bragging on we're one of the best colleges and we're also in the Princeton Review. My personal emails also has a signature that's already there. It's my name, my email, my phone number. Again, it's automatically tagged onto no matter what. I don't have to worry about it. Some people like to have a quote or saying, not all who wander are lost, be the change you want to see in the world, something like that. That's fine too. This is also where you can get a little creative. If you like different colors or different fonts, you can definitely do that. Some will put a photo, which is wonderful. They'll have the logo like I do. I have the logo for the college and the logo for the department I work out of. I have it on new and reply. That's a personal choice. Okay. Tips for professional emailing. Again, I'm trying to wrap this up. I was trying to keep this to an hour, but I talk a lot. It is what it is. All right, keep it concise, short, and to the point. Add a personal touch, be present and friendly. I hope this finds you well. I hope you're having a good week, or I hope your week is going well. Or, we live in Florida, we're coming into hurricane season. You might want to say something like, I hope you survive the storm well, or I hope you're prepared, or, depending on what the weather's like. If you know the person, how'd the Halloween party go? Or did your Steelers slaughter the Browns last week? I'm a Steeler fan. I've said that a couple times. Browns are our rival. All right, cover letters don't usually do this. They just dive right in. That's just another note. All right, clearly state your intent. Explicitly state why you're emailing and what you're looking or asking for. Don't make the reader guess. End of the email, if there's a call to action, make sure that it's really clear that you want this. Hey, I need this report back by the end of the day, Monday. I'm looking forward to hearing back from you. Here's my resume. I'm looking for the next steps in the interview process, whatever you're asking, or a clear statement if there's no action needed. Oh, for the love of Pete, make sure you proofread. It takes just an additional couple of minutes, depending on how long your email is, which hopefully isn't terribly long, because nobody wants to read all that. As long as you're getting the information in, you can do it concisely, but you've got to proofread. You will come across as so unprofessional if you've got spelling and grammar errors all throughout your email. So take an extra minute and proofread it. If it is a super important email, you might want to draft it and walk away from it and then come back and reread it with a fresh pair of eyes, with a fresh brain, especially if you're tired, because I do it too. I am, all day long, I'll misspell something or I'll leave out a word or something, then I'll go back and I'll reread it and I'm like, how'd I miss that? But you have to proofread. For really important emails, like I said, draft it, come back, look at it, whatever. Draft it in Word, use Grammarly or spell check to catch any of your errors. Make sure email is the right medium. If a phone call might be better, especially if it's something complicated or confusing that's maybe get lost in translation, Or if it's like super, super long, you might just send them an email like, hey, I need to speak with you. When are you free? If it's super sensitive information, like it's confidential information that you shouldn't be sending over email that could be intercepted, like, hey, I got to talk to you about a student, or I got to talk to you about, a client or something like that, you might want to maybe do a phone call. We use Teams, which is just like a texting app that we can use. We use that all day long. It's very, very noisy. Their student life is very chatty. And but we're getting all the information out without having to send a bazillion emails. It goes, I mean, it's like an instant messenger. It just pops right up. And I have so many different conversations going. I've got a whole student life one. I've got just a career services one. I've got individual conversations with my team on career services. I've got individual conversations with the VP of student life, with, the senior leadership team, with other people in student life, like it's just with professors. So it's really kind of a cool thing. And that's something that's going to be something a little bit, more, quick and easy. Just, hey, real quick, or, when will you be in the office? Or, I'm running out to lunch in case anybody's looking for me or something like that. If you're in the same office, maybe just walk over to their desk and be like, hey, Sally, got a minute? I just want to chat with you real fast. But so always ask yourself, is email the right medium? Always end with thank you. Always show gratitude. All right. The last thing that we're going to, oops. Do not want to stop the meeting. Oh, almost close you guys out. Last thing I want to show you guys just real quick, and I think you guys are gonna get a hoot out of this. I call this email no-no. I kid you not, this is a real email that I got. You guys are gonna love this. This makes me laugh every single time. I changed the name, of course, for posterity and confidentiality. All right, let me move this. Okay, so this is the email I received. This is what not to do. Very first email. I was trying to grasp at anything that will help me land a better job. Let me stop right there. There was nothing in the subject line of the email. There was no greeting, no good afternoon, good evening, good morning, hello, nothing. There's no introduction. I have no idea who this person is. Literally just sends this email. I was trying to grasp at anything that will help me land a better job. Job as in a career opportunity, not as in flipping burgers or digging ditches, ... I've already done that. I need an edge. All capital letters. Why are you yelling at me? That's what capital letters insinuate over text, right? More dots. Oh, we got 4 or 5 there. Perhaps a new technique perhaps a new techniques or technology that I can add to my resume. Why is that? Why is that a question, and why is that capitalized? I'm having a hard time getting in anywhere. I'm hitting dead ends everywhere. Perhaps my competition is just massive. I need to rise above. Again, yelling at me, all capital letters. What did I do to you? Why is this person yelling at me? I do have some standards. I'm looking for $24 an hour or more. I don't want to deal with children. I don't want a human DR office. My scope of options are vast beyond that. I can achieve anything. I'm stubborn, or as it is now called, tenacious. I'm still not being picked even when a HS or equivalent is required. I've tried as a Publix art director, Publix office clerk, Publix MKT coordinator, all these dots. Okay, you can read it. Oh my, garbage truck driver, city. Oh my Lord. I'm frustrated being 44 years old and feeling not wanted and useless. There was no closing. There was no thank you. I look forward to hearing from you. I need nothing. That right there that you are seeing is legit an email I received. I'm going, am I being punked? Like, who is this person? And why is this person emailing me? And what have I done to this person to make them be so aggressive towards me? So they did attach their resume. And upon opening it, I did see that this person did graduate from Florida Southern about 20 something years ago, and with a graphic arts, degree. So I respond, and the only way I knew the person's name was, and of course I changed it, but I said, "Hi, Jane. I'm happy to help, but you've caught me off guard. From your resume, I can see you are an FSC grad, but beyond that, I'm not sure how we know each other. Can you please give me a little more background so I know where to start? Thank you." And of course, I had my full email signature. This is where she writes back. "Hi there, I'm Jane Smith." Again, change the name. "Yep, you don't know me yet. I'm a 2002 graduate as BS in graphic design." Okay, so as you can see, going on more, the grammar, spelling, I mean, capital letters. I'm fed up. All these ellipses, all this. I mean, it's just, this is crazy. And then she goes on and she's like, want to do anything. I'm open anytime. She goes, "Don't be afraid to text or call me." And I'm like, quite frankly, I'm a little terrified because if you're going to yell at me over email, you can only imagine if I picked up the phone with this person. So I give her a nice professional email. I even, attach some job descriptions that I had come across and tell this person, like, "Here you go, have at it. These are some of my suggestions." Third reply again, "I believe you hit the nail on the head in your last paragraph, excuse me. I believe my keywords are not powerful enough, more dots, even though I produce, achieve, and exceed using the same skill sets. The other problem I believe is I'm marketing to a hired manager that don't know nothing about design." Again, why the question mark? And then more dots. This is so unbelievably unprofessional. This is exactly what you, as a presidential ambassador and as a budding professional yourself, are never going to do. This, my friends, is email no no. So that is exactly what not to do. So that concludes our first professional development seminar, if you will. I know I went a little over time and I do apologize. So next time we meet, I'll try to truncate it a little bit. But I get excited about this stuff. This is way in my wheelhouse. This is stuff I absolutely love. And I love it. I get excited. So imagine if you're in class with me. I do this all the time. Like my poor students are like, "Enough. I can't. It's in my blood." Anyway, I am in Rogers for these professional development training sessions. So if you'd like to come in person and feel my energy in person and my love and enthusiasm for this topic, please come to the Career Center on the first floor of Rogers at 12 o'clock at our next time, or you can join me virtually on the Zoom, or you can watch the recordings. However, you have worked that out with Stacy as far as what your requirements are for your presidential ambassador training. If you have any questions, please email me, mmorrow@flsouthern.edu. If not, I'll see you next time. Hope you have a great day, everybody. Thanks. Bye.